Pokémon Legends ZA is finally out, and I spent over 50 plus hours playing the game, taking in all the moments of this outstanding new story and side quests, figuring out the brand new battle mechanics whilst also completing the Pokédex, and searching for all the new Mega Evolutions this game has to offer, from the good, the bad, and the ugly. So grab your snacks, relax, and enjoy the amazing journey of Pokémon Legends ZA. We begin the adventure with an aerial view of Lumio City at night, where something has gone wrong at Prism Tower. It's here that our glorious King AZ and his Floette enter the scene, saying we need to find the strongest Mega Evolution user. Meanwhile, I was busy watching my own videos on the train before we had finally arrived at Lumio City, a modern metropolis where people and Pokemon exist together in harmony. As we leave the station, we are approached by Tawny, who is looking for a tourist to be in a promotional video and sets her sights on me. But before I could show off my unbelievable acting skills, we get cut off by an advertisement from Crisato's boss, Jet, who clearly isn't giving off any evil vibes at all. She lets us know about the Urban Redevelopment Plan, which has taken Lumio City by storm to make it an even better place to live. Whilst all of that was happening though, I was getting robbed by a random Pancham. I thought this was meant to be Lumio City, not London. We start dashing through the streets of Lumios, desperately trying to catch up to Pancham. Where'd you get the baseball bat from? Smash kneecaps first, ask questions later. We finally catch up to the little thief, only for it to hand the bag over to these two trainers, Andy and Andre. In order to get my bag back, we had to take down these guys, and thankfully Tawny decided to help us out by allowing us to choose our starter Pokemon from this selection right here. It's a weird choice of starters considering two are from Johto, so who would you guys pick? Let me know in the comments down below. If you're picking Tepig, just know that he robbed the chance at a Typhlosion Mega Evolution, and I will never forgive him for that. As for this one, this leaves me with the only good choice from this selection, Chikorita. He is just so adorable and cute, and I can't wait to see how Mega Meganium turns out. Surely it can't just add more petals onto its neck, right? But now we can finally get into the new and improved action-packed battle mechanic. Chikorita, go! Yeah, it's not much now, but it does get more exciting in the future. Essentially, we can control the movements of our Pokemon by moving our trainer around the battlefield, and moves are no longer set to a certain limit, but now have cooldowns instead. Finally, it feels like an interactive battle instead of a turn-based RPG. Now Chikorita, break Pancham's kneecaps! With that finally settled, we get our bag back as the thieves run away, but not before Pancham gives us a death stare. You ruled the day you messed with Captain Jack Pancham. Okay, we celebrate with a classic fist bump, with even my adorable Chikorita getting in on the action. But then all of a sudden, night falls. And you don't want to be outside unprepared on the streets of Lumios. This is because at night, some areas in Lumios turn into battle zones, a place where you can be challenged to a battle against your will. So to make sure Chikorita and I get the rest we deserved after a hard battle, we make our way back to the hotel Tawny was trying to advertise, only to be stopped by this random waiter who doesn't even realize I'm not even competing in this battle competition yet. Thankfully, our Chikorita learned leafage from the previous battle, so we can throw some leaves at a Pokemon and watch them fall to the ground one by one. Okay, Lumios isn't exactly what I expected, but at least I'll finally be able to kick back and relax. Oh no! Once again, we are ambushed by these spawn campers trying to get easy wins against people who are trying to leave the battle zone. All hope was lost until we heard a familiar cry in the distance. It was the eternal flower Floette, here to save the day. Do you honestly think a weak Pokemon like Floette is gonna save you? Please. Weak? Me? Remind me to never get on Floette's bad side. I don't want to be caught on the wrong end of a light of ruin. With her help though, we finally managed to escape the battle zone and arrive at the esteemed, luxurious Hotel Z, who pride themselves in offering the most tranquil and relaxing stays around. When people actually stay there, that is. The hotel is actually run by my glorious King AZ, a towering man who is over 3,000 years old and the only one to actually notice the random Zygarde cell hitchhiking from my bag. Oh,
I believe you have been led here because this is where you are meant to be, Gin.
Yeah, and not because I'm being threatened by a light of ruin if I didn't. What'd you say?
Nothing, Madam Floette.
We are then given our own room and finally a chance to rest after a long day, while AZ is still wondering what a Zygarde cell would want from me of all people. With that, our second mission was complete and we woke up to start our new life in Lumio City. As we come downstairs, Tawny lets us know about the battle zones are a part of a special competition called the ZA Royale, a high stakes Pokemon tournament where everyone competes to reach the illustrious rank A. And if we are able to accomplish such a feat, we earn the right to call ourselves the strongest trainer in all of Lumios and are also granted a wish. So of course I signed up straight away because I already had a wish I wanted to become a reality. I will get myself a Mega Typhlosion if it's the last thing I do. Currently we are in rank Z and the only way to rank up is to compete in a promotion match. In order to do that though, we need to acquire a challenger's ticket, which can only be done by beating other trainers in battle zones. We end up joining Tawny's team, Team MZ, and even get our own jacket to show off to the competition. But now, we finally have a chance to explore Lumios and catch some more Pokemon to add to our team. We'll find a bunch of these wild zones scattered across Lumios where, just like in Legends Arceus, wild Pokemon roam the streets and we can throw out a ball to either catch them, battle the Pokemon to weaken it first, and also sneak up to catch them off guard. Tawny then gives us some Pokeballs, and since I want to complete the Pokedex, I went on a massive catching spree, decimating the entire wild zone population. My team grew bigger, but I was only content with Chicory and Mareep for now. Pokemon Legends ZA, more like Pokemon Legends Johto. I then arrive at the Pokemon Research Lab where we can get some amazing prizes for completing specific research requests and the Pokedex. As I make it to the top floor expecting to see Sycamore, I hear someone going ballistic. Apparently they aren't happy with the mayor making more wild zones in Lumios, causing more work for them. Instead of seeing the GOAT Sycamore, it turns out that Mabel has actually taken the role of the Pokemon researcher after his retirement. And yes, this is the same Mabel from Team Flare. She explains that she needs our help in the research on the Pokemon on the city, saying we're just the type of person needed to complete her survey work, and doesn't give us much of a choice. So essentially, we just need to catch more Pokemon to complete more research tasks to unlock better rewards. And right now, we just got to level 2, which gives us the Rock Smash TM. After leaving the lab, we end up meeting with another team member of ours, Naveen, a person who loves designing clothes and even made the jacket we're wearing right now. But apparently our outfit was missing something, which is when he hooks us up with a stylish fedora. After returning to Hotel Z and enjoying our afternoon tea, we get a notification from our ZA app to let us know our first promotion match has been decided. In order to escape rank Z, we first need to dispose of Zach. He's only a rank Z trainer. How hard could he be? We meet up with the gang, which also includes a member of Team MZ, Leader, and they're all here to cheer me on as I look to escape rank Z. There isn't much of a difference to these battles as before, except now I'm the one giving back shots to trainers. Wait. Pause. That's right, you can catch trainers Pokemon unaware to give you an advantage in the battle, and after getting our 3 wins, we obtain a challenger's ticket and are ready to fight for our promotion match. As we make our way over to our opponent, I suddenly noticed there was a builder who had an anime waifu on his vest. Is this really what Pokemon's come to? Now where can I buy one? But enough getting sidetracked. Our opponent Zach, a Lumios taxi driver who has a lot of experience, but not in winning, giving him the title of Lizard Eternal. His wish is to abolish all forms of transport in Lumios except for taxis. The horror. But with my wish for Mega Typhlosion on the line, I wasn't going to let him have his way. I start off with my Mareep and focus on spamming Thundershock to lower Slowpoke's HP before eventually switching in Chikorita to finish the job. And it's a good thing I did, as now he sends in his Pidgey, who I thought would be easier, but its quick attacks brought Mareep into the red even though I had the type advantage. I had to bring back Chikorita and finish it off, but not before taking considerable amount of damage. Was it actually me who was going to become the new Lizard Eternal? With his last Pokemon being Pikachu, things were looking dire. But then I remembered that Bunnelby I caught earlier had the move Mud Shot, allowing us to bury the yellow rat into the mud, meaning we had won our first ranked battle. Why are you sad, Zach? Alright. I'm ranking up and you aren't. That's why. We are then approached by a mysterious figure who is definitely ticking all the right boxes. And it turns out to be Emma, who, if you didn't know, was part of the Looker Quest missions in the original XY post game. She's now fully taken over the Looker Bureau and is in charge of protecting the peace of Lumios, which is ironic considering she's stolen my heart. She mentions she was investigating a suspicious Pokemon and tells Tawny that she still hasn't found the person she's looking for. But before I can get more information about the Pokemon she was looking for, she Naruto runs off into the night. With another mission completed, we head back to Hotel Z, where we celebrate with a piping hot plate of croissant curry. I don't even know what to say at this point. I think Naveen definitely has the right idea of eating a sandwich instead. The next day, Tawny takes us on a sightseeing trip to Lumio City's #1 attraction, Prism Tower. And as we leave, we meet Tarragon, the boss of Racine Construction and one of the main people in charge of helping redevelop Lumio City. He hands me a Canary plush, which helps boost the experience we get after battles and catching Pokemon, and there are different types of Canary plushes we can get to help us out along the way. Tawny then tells us about these pink rocks which we can break to obtain Mega Shards, which should allow us to get new Mega Evolutions, or at least I hope. On the way to the tower, we make it to Wild Zone 2, so of course I had to make a pit stop there and fill out my Pokedex. It was nice to see the Magikarp defenseless, only able to splash around as it met its demise. After spending a lot of time trying to capture all the Pokemon, there was just one missing. It was only later until I realized that some Pokemon do spawn at night, not during the day, but at the time, this just slipped my mind and I was really getting annoyed by it. Eventually, I decided to leave it and admire the beauty of Prism Tower at this nice cafe. A burn-up roast, please. Extra hot. But before I could even have a sip, we get approached by Vinny, who would have been a threatening presence if it wasn't for the Baneri on top of his head. Turns out he's a part of Crasatico Incorporated, and he lets us know that we can't go climb the tower since it's closed due to renovations. So I guess we won't be seeing Clemontagear anytime soon. Instead, Tawny asks us to join her at the Looker Bureau, and I don't see any reason not to go see Emma. But on our way, we find these people who self-proclaim themselves as the Fist of Justice, led by their leader Ivor, who wants to abolish wild zones entirely and let wild Pokemon roam free. Tawny looks down on their dream, but for some reason, I'm the one who gets called out. We get thrown into a battle, but Chiguria is able to make light work of her, especially with the fact that they now know Disarming Voice, a fairy type move, hinting at her potential fairy typing in the future. After Ivor preaches that he will abolish all wild zones, we can finally explore the third one, where I spot one of my favorite Pokemon, Skiddo. And after finishing catching up with the rest of them, we arrive at the Looker Bureau where the adorable little Mimi is waiting to let us inside. It's here where we find Emma again, sleeping on the job. As she tries to act cool and brush it aside, we are asked Emma if we can help her out with some detective work. Ace Detective Gin at your service. I also just want to point out that Emma really loves her mentors. Just look at the beautiful pictures of Looker and Zorosic. Yep, that's right. Even Madman Zorosic helped shape Emma to who she is today. Now, these detective requests are essentially side quests. Whilst I will be looking to complete all of them, I won't talk about them all, just the ones that I found interesting. But as these three are a part of the main story, we will be going through them now. Our first quest had us look to get a ring back for this lady that a Pokemon took from here. This new wild zone turned out to be a graveyard, so you know what that means. Ghost type Pokemon. If you couldn't tell, ghost types are my favorite, and I can't wait to finally use a Mega Gengar again. It also turns out that a mischievous Sableye was the one who took her ring, and after defeating and catching it to add to our decks, we returned the ring and completed our first quest. Our second quest was at a shopping center, which meant we had more pressing matters to attend to. Character customization. Finally, we can express our uniqueness and individuality again, and I'm not forced to wear a stupid school uniform. Now I'm looking good. Anyways, the next quest was to trade a Pikachu, and what do you get in return, you ask? A freaking Heracross named The Boys. We just got The Boys from a trade. What more could you ask for? My Legends Johto team is really coming together now. The final side quest we have to do is take on an Alpha Bunnelby, and just like back in Hisui, these guys are much more tanky and aggressive, but the Bunnelby can't handle the power of the boys. And we even managed to catch it as well. Back at the bureau, Emma congratulates us and offers us a reward. Unfortunately, it wasn't that type of reward. But it's even better. She teaches us about Mega Evolution, showing off her amazing Mega Ampharos. I then received another notification letting me know that my next promotion match against Yvonne was coming up. But before that, I finally had the ability to roam around Lumios without being restricted by the game, and I was going to do just that. I began completing some side quests, even evolving Chikorita and Mareep into Bayleaf and Flaffy. I even found this weak little Fennekin who needed some twigs to help it get better, and I couldn't leave such a poor innocent Pokemon hurt, so what do? I rushed straight to the battle zone to get my challenger's ticket, but just got 100 points off before the night ended and started catching some more Pokemon and completing more side quests. Wait, what was I doing again? Oh right, the Fennekin! I tried to go to the place where the twigs were, but for the life of me, I couldn't figure out how to get past this poisonous sludge. I spent a good amount of time doing some other quests before I realized I could just wash it away with water. And of course, I managed to pick up the one twig I needed last, making this quest even longer than needed. I wouldn't be surprised if the Fennekin was in the grave at this point, but luckily, it was still pushing through all the pain and perked up once it devoured the twig. Fennekin even decided to join our team because it was so thankful we made it a priority and didn't get sidetracked. Right guys? Right? I then stumbled upon another side quest where Froakie was the undisputed parkour king around these parts. There was no way I was going to let him have that title whilst I was around. After completing the 3 parkour courses in record time, the wild Froakie decided this guy's alright and destroying my team as well. And after more exploring, they even managed to evolve into Bryson and Frogadier. Our team is looking stacked, and I think I might have discovered the best move in the game, Fire Spin. The amount of damage that stacks up because the other trainers just stay in the AoE is insane. But finally, we have enough points for a challenger's ticket and can face Yvonne in our promotion match. And she wants to make a wish for a marathon around Lumios. You don't need a wish to do that. Needless to say, we absolutely decimated her. Bayleaf didn't even let her first 2 Pokemon get into the fight, and our new and improved Bison burnt her Vivillon to ashes, giving us our much deserved promotion to rank X. An excellent job, if I do say myself. The next day, we even end up battling our teammate Naveen and find out that the reason he's at the hotel is because he wants to pursue his dreams of becoming an ace fashion designer. I think you guys understand by now the formula of Pokemon Legends ZA. During the day, we go and complete a bunch of side quests and catch more Pokemon, and during the night, we battle it out to continue pushing up the ranks. Like against Shavy here, a grade schooler who says I got the face that screams I love rank X. No, you got a face that screams I love rank X. Nailed it. Xavi was a pushover, making our promotion to rank W even sweeter, because all we do is take W's and give out L's. Oh, so now rank X is cooler, huh? Yeah, go cry to your mommy. AZ then gives us a little side quest to give Leader her things that she forgot. We find out that she's not actually related to Tierno, but just inspired by him. I mean, could have fooled me. They're basically identical. But not long after that, we also get ready to take on Rintaro at his restaurant as we push for rank V. Rintaro is clearly Hawk's biggest fan, as he uses all 3 of the elemental monkeys. I generally thought I was facing Hawk for the promotion match. The fights are also starting to become a bit more challenging, but we have the type advantages on our side as well, with Bryshin taking care of Simisage with some Fire Spin residual damage and Ember, Bayleaf dealing with Simicore, draining its HP away with Leech Seed and Giga Drain, and finally, Frogadier made light work of his Simisear with the combo of rushing in with Quick Attack, using Flip Turn to deal the super effective damage and then jump away, and finishing it off with a long distance Bubble Beam. V for victory! However, as I leave the restaurant, I get a call from Emma about a suspicious Pokemon she was looking for, and it turns out to be the legendary Pokemon Zygarde. Emma screams for me to not let it out of my sight, and I'm not allowed to let Emma down of all people, so we chase Zygarde through the streets of Lumios. But once we catch up, Zygarde suddenly pounces on us and brings us to the rooftops, where we find this Absol surrounded by a mysterious aura. AZ and Emma arrive onto the scene, and we find out that the Absol is about to undergo a case of rogue Mega Evolution, where a Pokemon Mega evolves without a trainer and begins to wreak havoc. Apparently, they can only be beaten by another Mega Evolution. And yeah, we're definitely lacking in that department. But my glorious King AZ comes in clutch by not only letting me use his Lucario, but by also giving me a Mega Ring. Oh yeah. It's all coming together. Now these rogue mega battles are no joke. A massive HP bar, crazy moves that not only hurt your Pokemon, but yourself as well, so you need to be more vigilant than ever. In order to even Mega Evolve, we need to build up Mega Energy, which can also be dropped by attacking the rogue Mega at times. But once the bar is full, we can finally unleash the full power of Mega Evolution. This only lasts for a short time, and so you need to continuously build up the energy as you fight, but it turns all your moves into plus moves, which deal much more damage, and some moves even have different increases and effects. But be careful, as all rogue megas have unique moves they can do when charged up that can deal devastating damage. One last rock smash though was enough to defeat the rogue mega Absol, and we were rewarded with not only the Absolite, but that same Absol even joined my team. Too bad I don't care for Absol though. It was here that we were told Absol isn't the only one experiencing the rogue mega phenomenon. These Pokemon also experience great pain during this, and so it's up to us to save them and Lumiose City. Hey Gin, you should have a battle and you should use your mega Absol you got. Sure, yeah, just give me a second. Hey Absol, how you doing? I know we got off on the wrong foot. Kinda need you now, otherwise I can't progress through the game. No hard feelings, right? With Absol back in the team, we face off against Tawny, whose other starter Pokemon have evolved into their second stage, but Bayleaf makes quick work of Croconaw with Giga Drain, and now we can Mega Evolve our Absol to easily dispose of her Pignite. But Tawny had an ace up her sleeve with a Mega Evolution of her own, Mega Manectric. We did have some massive damage against each other, but luckily our Absol was able to pull through and secure the win. Now it's time to head over to Quasartico and see what Vinny needs from us. But before that, I did make a quick pit stop at Mabel's lab as she said she had a special treat for us, but to my surprise, it was not what I expected, and instead I was given a choice of a Kanto starter Pokemon. Naturally, I picked the best one, Bulbasaur, and I will fight you all in the comments if you say otherwise. Arriving at Quasartico, we are stopped by their elite security system. Yeah, these guys definitely strike fear into their enemies. After dealing with their buffed up security with Tawny, Vinny appears and lets them know we were actually invited and not intruders. It was here where we were questioned about Rogue Mega Evolution and if we were the ones to calm it down. But to my surprise, Vinny was actually happy to find out we did this. Maybe he's not just a scary face after all. Vinny was just glad to know that there were some more people Quasartico could rely on to help them with the situation at hand. It turns out that the ZA Royale was created by AZ, and it was because they needed to find the strongest Mega Evolution user, but we still don't know why and what for. We still need to climb up the ranks though, since we're only at rank 3. However, this prompts Vinny to send us a new promotion invitation. Our next opponent will be Vinny, and the winner of this battle will result in an immediate promotion to rank F. We're basically jumping over half the alphabet with one battle. This must mean that the next battle is gonna be tough, and I don't think my team is prepared for this yet, so I set out to get myself a challenger's ticket while also making sure that the team was ready for this fight. I managed to get my Pokemon's levels up and evolve my Ghastly into a Haunter, and then with the help of a friend, also into a Gengar. But even though my team grew stronger, we needed a Mega Evolution for this fight, and I had none available to me even though I had a Mega Ring. But then, flash of inspiration hit me. There is one place you could buy a Mega Stone in X and Y. The Stone Emporium. Praying for them to have a Mega Stone I could use, and lo and behold, the Gengarite was there, staring me in the face. We had finally gotten our first real Mega Evolution. We turn our sights onto Vinny, and just from his intro scene alone, I knew I was in for a tough fight, especially when he leads off with a Houndoom. Not a great matchup for my Bayleaf. I switch into Frogadier and use my signature Quick Attack, Flip Turn, Bubble Beam attack combo to finish it off. Vinny then follows up with Sharpedo as I bring in Flaffy, but she was only able to get a Thunder Wave off before being decimated by the Landshark's Whirlpool and Slash attacks. Luckily, we still have the type advantage with Bayleaf and a Giga Drain comboed into a Razor Leaf, taking it down. The boys was then able to pound the Baneri into dust with ease, and Vinny is now down to his last Pokemon, Drampa, which he decides to Mega Evolve, and we get our first look at a new Mega Evolution here in Legend ZA, and oh my god, is it a beautiful one. It's like Drampa gained back all its youthful energy, and the fight felt like it too. I couldn't handle Drampa's attacks efficiently, with him easily getting rid of the boys. I decided decided to fight back with my own Mega Evo, Gengar, forgetting that Drampa is a normal type Pokemon, so my ghost moves do no damage, forcing me to switch out. One after another, my Pokemon were falling to the hands of this Drampa, even after his Mega Evolution had ran out. But when all hope was lost, Fire Spin bails me out. The amount of tick damage you get is just too good that it brings Drampa down enough for me to get the finishing blow. Vinny is finally defeated and he has no choice but to acknowledge my strength. All the odds were really against me, but we pulled through and got our deserved Mega promotion to rank F. F's in the chat for Vinny, everyone. Tawny was also able to defeat Vinny, progressing through the ranks herself, and Vinny finally takes us back inside to let us know what's been going on in Lumio City. AZ had apparently approached Crasatico 2 years ago when he realized the city was in peril and crying out in pain. This is because the city was accumulating what we now know as Mega Energy, which is causing Pokemon to Rogue Mega Evolve. But the first case of Rogue Mega Evolution only took place 6 months ago. Vinny then asked us to help deal with any more Rogue Mega Pokemon that appear, which Tawny and I gladly agreed to help him with. Crasatico also had a place where you could exchange Mega Shards for new Mega Stones, but I'll be saving my shards for now, waiting for when we find the new Mega Evolution that I know I will need to do anything to get. Moving on, I decided to fill out my Pokedex more by exploring the newly opened wild areas, and it was a nightmare. I swear, as soon as I stepped into these wild zones, everything was out to get me. I barely had a chance to breathe whilst dodging moves and catching new Pokemon. During this time though, I was able to evolve my Bayleaf into Meganium. I also went ahead and completed some more side quests, with 2 in particular catching my interest. Turns out there was a quest where you could get a free shiny Mareep, so you know we had to add this to our team and instantly get them to an Ampharos. The other quest was at a museum, where we needed to gather 12 missing Spupas along the way, and we were able to see all the wonders of the Kalos region's history, stemming from the past king adding Mew into his pictures and the amazing artworks of the region and Diancie. But what really stunned me was the Hisui exhibit on the 2nd floor. Everything was there. Kamado's armor, statues of Dialga and Palkia, the ancient glyphs, and even... oh no. No! I don't want to deal with the piano again! I also decided to add an Aegislash to my team before we met up with Naveen at Novu Cafe. But Naveen seems to be a bit worried about us rising up the ranks so quickly, as at some point we'll have to go up against his idol Kanari, an electrifying streaming gaming prodigy. His simp levels might be even bigger than mine for Emma's, saying we can't battle Kanari and can only dream of being able to be in her presence. Yikes. Is this what I sound like? Before Naveen and I could go into a simp battle, Vinny contacts Tawny to let us know that there are 3 more Rogue Mega Pokemon we need to quell. So we head back to Hotel Z for Team MZ to strategize how to deal with these threats. Essentially, we'll be heading to all 3 spots where the Megas have arrived, teaming up with a different Team MZ member each fight, and we can challenge them in any order we want. But before I head out, my glorious King AZ gifts me the long-awaited Meganiumite. This is why you are my King, AZ. I couldn't contain my excitement. We were finally gonna see Mega Meganium in action. So I rushed over to Slowbro since we had the type advantage over him. And just like our last Rogue Mega battle, we aren't doing a lot of damage since Ampharos isn't Mega Evolved and can't use any plus moves. But all of that was about to change. Meganium! It's time to go beyond basic evolution and Mega Evolve! I love it! It may just be a bit of extra flowers, but it's my extra flowers. And look at how much damage Meganium does in its Mega form. He even gains the Fairy type upon Mega Evolving. I knew I had made the right choice from the start. Meganium was even diving headfirst into Slowbro's Whirlpool onslaught and barely took any damage. A walking tank that can heal itself. What more could you ask for? And with that, we defeated Slowbro and attained the Slowbro Knight. Next up was the Rogue Mega Camera, who somehow made it all the way to this rooftop. But even with the 4 times weakness to water, my Froggedier's attacks were doing nothing, as we needed Mega Pokemon or Plus moves to deal some damage. And ironically, Meganium was back again. Despite the type disadvantage, they're putting in a shift, dealing great amounts of damage with Giga Drain, winning us the fight and the camera update. But the same couldn't be said for Victory Bell. Because of its poison typing, I couldn't Mega Evolve Meganium, otherwise it would be 4 times weak to poison. And this fight is difficult because Mega Victory Bell keeps shooting out bullet seeds on top of making large pools of poison around the area, which are hard to avoid. However, even with not having a suitable Mega for this fight, Bison shows up with my favourite move again, Fire Spin. Victory Bell doesn't move much in this fight, so we're constantly getting tick damage over time, and combining that with Mega Gengar's Icy Wind and Confusion, we're slowly able to whittle down at Victory Bell's HP, and thankfully, Gengar can't get poisoned for being a poison type itself. Victory Bell finally falls, and we obtain the Victory Bellite as our reward. However, unbeknown of me, we were being watched by someone during our battles with the Rogue Mega. It was only after I got back to Hotel Z that Zygarde had finally shown himself before me and challenged me to a battle. Although, it just stood there as my Gengar laid into it with Icy Wind and Shadow Claws. Is Zygarde secretly a masochist? What's even weirder is after the fight, Zygarde appears to have something in its mouth. What could the legendary Pokemon of Kalos want to give us? It's a pebble. Okay then. It was here that a strange man called El appears and explains that Zygarde has chosen me to fight alongside it in the distant future when Lumiose is in danger. Zygarde instant transmissions out and El mentions that he knows of AZ and that he will face his sins soon enough, but that can wait for another time, leaving us pondering, what is the threat that will attack Lumiose? Why has Zygarde chosen me of all people? What is the relationship between AZ and L? And why are so many people called letters now? Am I just G now? Is that my name? G? Nevertheless, we have more pressing matters to attend to as our next promotion match has been announced. We'll be facing the one, the only, Canary? Naveen is absolutely flabbergasted. What do you mean you don't know whose side to pick? It should be mine, obviously. At least Lida has common sense. The problem is we don't know where Canary could be hiding since she's always streaming. It's Canary! Oh, whoa, okay, jeez. With no knowledge of where she could be, we set our sights on Canary's meet and greet, where she's hosting a quiz and a winner can ask her something from her, with our request being a promotion match. Let's go, Dynamo! You know what? I can see why she has a big following. Amazing catchphrase, great gaming skills, and she looks amazing. Oh no. I'm becoming a Kinetic, aren't I? With my amazing detective skills of following the superfan for the multiple choice questions and Naveen's super simp knowledge, we're able to win the competition, beating the likes of the superfan and someone with a Chandelure hat who seems to have a Mega Stone on it. But for now, we make our way over to Racine Construction, where we meet up with Tarragon again, who's actually Canary's grandfather. And in order to find out where Canary is, we need to beat him in a battle. Tarragon is a ground type specialist, and we have a good matchup against him with Meganium. But if you noticed earlier, Tarragon has a Mega Stone in his helmet, and we get to see our next new Mega Evolution, Excadrill. And oh my god, do I love this design. Whoever made Mega Excadrill must have been a Gurren Lagann fan, as that is definitely the drill that will be in a drill to create the heavens. Setting up with Swords Dance and knocking out my Greninja and Delphox in one go. Luckily, we have our own tank, Mega Meganium, but even he almost fell to the power of the Mega Drill. But it was only after the battle we learned the shocking truth that Canary was actually old man Tarragon this entire time? Naveen was simping for an old man every stream? This feels like a weird anime title. That time I found out my favorite VTuber was my grandpa, and now I have to help him stream? Or at least it would have been the case. But Canary is just so busy streaming and playing games that her Gramps usually handles the live's events for her with a holo model. Nevertheless, it was finally time for Canary and I to collab in our promotion match. And let me be the first to say that this fight was tough. Although Meganium was able to deal with her Helioptile and Gengar helped out against her Ampharos, Canary then sent in her biggest threat, Stun Fists. I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw this thing was decimating my entire team. Greninja? Squashed. Gengar? Flattened. Meganium? Annihilated. If it wasn't for Delphox and her Fire Spin, I genuinely think I would have been swept by a Stun Fist of all things. But now, it was finally time for her final Pokemon, and if you were paying attention to her room earlier, you would know that she Mega Evolves her ace, Electros, which appears to have 2 new Electroses growing out from the main body. I do like the plus and minus symbol at the end, not a bad design. Plus, the way she Mega Evolves, clean. And let me tell you, it was strong. Delphox and H-Slash both went down, and Ampharos was only able to just clutch up the victory at the end with an Electro Web residual damage and Power Gem, giving our promotion to rank E. Hey Canary, guess what this was? Easy! 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 Wow. That's a lot of cuss words. The next day, we get another call from Vinny telling us that there's more Rogue Megas that have appeared. You plan to use the Rogue Megas to advertise the hotel, don't you, Tawny? Of course! Come one, come all. Get the finest view of Rogue Mega Evolution only at Hotel Z. Alright guys, enough joking around. We got some more Rogue Mega Evolutions to beat. Wait, you guys were just joking? Mega Beedrill was up first. This fight itself wasn't difficult, as its pin missiles were easy to avoid and the Kakuna it spawned weren't much of a threat. The only issue was that it moved so damn fast that I would sometimes miss my moves. Luckily, Mega Gengar's Dark Pulse was able to strike it down when it went into the air, giving us the Beedrillite. Next up was Mega Ray Mysterio! And just like Beedrill, Hawlucha chases you around the area, sending air slashes and grip breaks your way. He even has a move which, if he charges up fully, leaves you with 1 HP, and the only way to stop it is if you hit it with a plus move as it's charging. Thankfully, we had Mazda the Gengar with Icy Wind, Confusion, and Dazzling Gleam, all super effective moves which allowed us to win this wrestling match and giving us the Hawlucha Knight. Last up was Banette, whose fight was definitely my favourite of the Rogue Megas we've faced so far. Banette makes clones on the battlefield, so you're being attacked by multiple Rogue Megas at a time. The real one is actually the one without a HP bar over its head, but all clones do still give damage to the main body. Its charge moves send a volley of Shadow Claws your way, which you need to keep dodging, otherwise it's game over. Banette was truly showing why the Ghost type is the best type in Pokemon. And after some time dodging the Phantom Forces, Shadow Ball, Shadow Claws, and Confuse Rays, Meganium was able to rush in and drain its remaining HP, rewarding us with the Banette. It was here that Zygarde and L return, and we find out that Zygarde unfortunately cannot Mega Evolve, and that is why I need to keep honing my skills in order to help him out with the power of my Mega Evolve Pokemon in the future. L seems to remind me of someone, but I can't quite put my finger on who. Anyways, we have other issues to attend to, like our next promotion match being against Ivor. You know, the guy we met back at the start who wants to abolish all wild zones and wrestles Pokemon with his fists? Yeah, that guy. But before we can take him on, I decided we needed more firepower. And by fire, I mean water. See, you can enter the online ranked Royale battle system and compete against other people online, where whoever knocks out the most Pokemon within the time period wins. And as you climb up the ranks, one of the rewards for reaching rank K this season is a Greninjite. With my new Mega Stone added to my Greninja, I was ready to take on Ivor. Or at least I was, but it turns out his sister Gwyn is missing, and now we need to help him find her before anything else. This because Ivor is so strong that he breaks his phones every time, so his sister has to be the one to initiate the battle. We end up enlisting Emma's help, searching all over Lumia City, even bringing us back to Canary, who Gwyn is a massive fan of, and we end up having a rematch to get some info out of her. The fight once again goes down to the wire, with her finishing off my Mega Meganium first, and I only had Greninja left. But he manages to pull out Water Shuriken after tanking an Electro-type move for the win. Eventually, we end up in the sewers, but a blocked gate is brought in our path, and no key was present at the time. We were thinking we could try catching a cleft key to see if maybe it had a key to open Justice Punch! There. Thanks to Ivor's efforts, we can push forward, and I managed to catch myself a Litwick, opening us a chance at Chandelure. Speaking of, we actually see a Chandelure down in the sewers, who might be Gwyn's Pokemon to chase after it, only to end up in a dead end. But with Ivor around, there's no such thing as a dead end. Or so we thought, because it turns out the wall was actually just an illusion, and Gwyn was just trying to get away from her brother since she has to deal with all the complaints they get. And after spending a day with Ivor, I can understand her pain. At the end of this missing person case, we get a chance to battle Gwyn and her ghost types. And this gave us a chance to debut 2 new Megas in this fight. First, I Mega Evolved my Greninja, and it was even cooler than I had imagined. I mean, he's literally hanging off a giant Water Shuriken. However, Gwyn also Mega Evolves her Chandelure, and it might be my favorite design out of the new Megas we've seen so far. But it wasn't enough to stop my giant Water Shuriken, giving us the win, and we're finally able to have our promotion match with Ivor, but not before evolving my own Litwick into a Chandelure. The battle begins with Chandelure burning his Heracross to a crisp after taking a rock blast, but he then retaliated back with a bulked up bulldoze from Machamp. Unfortunately for Ivor, my tank Meganium just eats everything he throws at him, showing muscles aren't everything when it comes to Pokemon battling. His Medicham was able to have much more of an even battle with my Greninja, but this is where things take a turn for the worse. He brings out his Mega Evolution, Mega Phalanx, and oh my god, I feel sorry for the two that have to be the legs. They are literally doing their best to keep this thing afloat. This newly formed Megazord hits like a truck, taking down not only my Greninja in one hit, but then he decides to use No Retreat, a move that boosts all of his stats as I Mega Evolve, allowing him to then survive my Dazzling Gleam and insta-delete my Mega Meganium. Not even Gengar was quick enough or strong at this point to finish it off, and she also suffered the same fate. Thankfully though, Ampharos can strike it down with a Thunderbolt, giving us a well-deserved victory. We went from E to D, because I have a D. Alright, that was the worst one. However, we can't enjoy this victory for long, as the very next day, we find out that Tawny, who's nowhere to be found, took out a loan from some loan sharks called the Rust Syndicate to make an ad for the hotel, and now the hotel is in debt to them. What's worse is because Tawny never paid back the debt, the interest has shot straight through the stratosphere. Now, Leader and I have to go to the Rust Syndicate to sort out a repayment plan. We arrive at their base, and it's here we meet up with Mr. Philippe, who doesn't like the fact that I made fun of his grunt's haircut and challenged us to a battle. He tends to use Steel-type Pokemon, who aren't much of a threat for me, but we do get to see him unleash his new Mega Evolution of Skarmory. I'm so sorry, Skarmory fans. It's like someone at Game Freak literally grabbed a gold spray can and called it a day. The less said about this Mega, the better. Now it's finally time to discuss the business with the Rust Syndicate's boss, Mr. Corbeau. It turns out that Tawny took a loan of 100,000 Pokédollars, but the interest has gone all the way up to $1 million. And in order to deal with the incurred interest, we now have to take care of some jobs for them. So we've essentially become a part of the Pokemafia. Refusing to accept his terms would cause trouble for Hotel Z, so we had no choice but to oblige. Trying to get my mind off the debt, I began exploring the city, catching more Pokemon for the Pokedex when I suddenly spotted a shiny Dratini in the distance. I couldn't believe my eyes. We already knew Dragonite gets a new Mega Evolution, but I haven't seen its shiny version yet. And Dragonite itself is a monster of a Pokemon to have, so I caught it in my favorite Pokeball, the Dusk Ball, and immediately added her to my team. Heading back to Hotel Z, we find out that Tawny never read the terms and conditions, which is why the interest is so high. God damn it, Tawny. Moving on with the story, we have some more rogue Mega Pokemon we have to take care of, with the first one being the new and improved Rock Fighting Mega Barbaracle. This design is weird, but in a good way. Kinda gives me Sukuna vibes from JJK, but it could barely dent my Mega Meganium's HP, so we were able to dispatch it with ease and obtain the Barbaracolite. After the fight though, we get another encounter with Zygarde and L, where L proceeds to give us an insight as to what is going on in Lumiose. Apparently, the Mega Power causing Rogue Mega Evolution began at the same time they started doing renovations on Prism Tower, suggesting that Quasartico has something to do with this all. This makes a lot of sense considering the opening cutscene where the tower suddenly overflowed with what we now know as Mega Power. It also seems Zygarde is using L as an instrument to make Lumiose a better place, but he doesn't mind since his goal is also to create a beautiful city, a more beautiful world. Where have I heard that before? But before I could question him about it, L disappears, and we haven't got time since we also need to deal with the other two rogue Megas. Mega Morwell never stood a chance with our very own Mega Chandelure, setting up multiple plus Fire Spins. You know how much I love Fire Spin? Well, these ones are much bigger and deal way more damage over time. Just look at Marwell's HP bar get obliterated because it can't escape the burning pits of hell. My Mega Chandelure skills were so amazing that it even gained a secret admirer in Gwyn, who helped us out on getting to Ampharos after a quick battle. I'm much better at dealing with rogue Megas now, so even Ampharos isn't able to stop our rampage. But our work doesn't stop there, as now Bossman Corbeau calls and starts saying we need to clear up our debt. And with what he's saying here, there's no getting out of it. And of course, guess what? Tawny's nowhere to be seen. I was expecting the worst when arriving at the first job location, wondering what things they were going to make me do to question my morality. But it turns out the Rust Syndicate are actually just helping the local Lumiose community. A bunch of troublemakers invading a person's home. Nah, it's just getting rid of some wild Pokemon. And the house apparently belonged to Professor Lavington, taking care of some undesirable elements in the sewers, but it's actually just clearing out Mega Crystals to keep Lumiose clean. Outsiders causing trouble on their turf, but in actuality, we're just making sure the kids of Lumiose were safe to battle as they like, and not approached by weird battle societies. During these jobs, Bossman Corbeau has been doing background checks on me, seeing what I had to do with these rogue Megas, and also asking if I knew who L was. It was here that he reveals L is actually the menace that terrorized Lumiose and Kalos 5 years ago, Lysander. You wouldn't think he'd survive that massive explosion from the ultimate weapon, and yet here we are. Apparently, Lysander helped him out when he was younger, and he has always been looking for a chance to repay his own debt. Who would have thought me and Bossman Corbeau could be debt buddies? After completing our third mission, we overhear a commotion and head straight over, only to find Tawny and Jet surrounded by a large crowd. The citizens of Lumiose aren't pleased with the amount of wild zones that keep forming, so to make sure things don't escalate, Bossman Corbeau and I decide to take down this protester in a 2-on-1 battle. Wow. We really are the villain team right now, aren't we? Even though I had to put in some overtime, I enjoyed working with the Rust Syndicate. Maybe they aren't as bad as I thought, but as I arrived back at the hotel, Bossman Corbeau calls again, telling us to meet him as the Rust Syndicate headquarters alone. Apparently though, I did such a great job and I'm so good at battling that he decided to remove the remaining interest on Tawny's debt for us, and now only the original 100,000 remain. But his real intention was to have an all-out battle against me, and lo and behold, our opponent in the next promotion match is the boss man himself. It was finally time to face off against Bossman Corbeau, but this fight was more difficult than I had expected. Corbeau specializes in poison type Pokemon, and every chance he got, he would find a way to poison me. I wanted to try out my new and improved Mega Horlucha, who was able to get rid of his Arbok with Bounce, but then he sends in a Gyarados, who fires back with his own Bounce to get rid of my new Mega. Ampharos wasn't even much help in this fight because she got flinched by Waterfall, so I couldn't even use Discharge. Thankfully, an Electro Web and Power Gem was enough to get rid of his dominant Gyarados. But even in this position, we were in a terrible spot. His Roserade not only poisons my Chandelure with Sludge Bomb, but my Heat Wave wasn't enough to finish it off in one go, and since it had access to Shadow Ball, once again, my type advantage meant nothing. I was generally stunned for a bit, trying to decide who to go into next. Dragonair couldn't even beat it with an Ice Beam because they used Synthesis to heal up their HP, and then proceeded to poison me again with Sludge Bomb before being taken out, reducing my health even more over time. And if that wasn't enough, we still weren't in the clear, as now his Ace Scolipede joins the battle, and he increases the pressure even more by Mega Evolving it into this terrifying monstrosity. Those horns aren't just for decoration. He proceeds to annihilate my team, one by one, giving me no chance to breathe. I was suffocating underneath his pressure. It all came down to Greninja, who was able to avoid his Gunk Shot when I Mega Evolved, but we still took massive damage from his X-Scissor. Luckily, we were able to get a Surf off right before he attacked, finally destroying his Mega Scolipede and earning our promotion to Rank C. Do you see what we did there, guys? Huh? See what we did there? I can proudly say that Bossman Corbeau is my favorite character in Legend ZA, especially when after our battle, he comes to stay the night at Hotel Z, which is oddly out of character for him. But as the sun rises and we all meet back up, Corbeau thanks us for the great service and even gives Tawny a generous tip of 100,000 Poké Dollars, which she can immediately use to pay back her outstanding debt. Who would have thought Bossman Corbeau had such a big heart? Now that we're finally debt-free, AZ decides to finally give Lida and Naveen their own Mega Rings, and we find out that their partner Pokemon actually get some Megas. But for some reason, Lida still hasn't evolved her Staryu, so we'll have to wait for the big reveal. It better be worth the wait. On the other hand, we don't have to wait to see Mega Scrappy in action, and it's a proper gangster now. Scrappy fans, you've definitely been nice. Whilst Team MZ was hanging out, we were suddenly approached by this maid named Laban, who's employed by the Lumiose Society of Battle Connoisseurs, or SBC for short. Wait, isn't that a FIFA challenge? Apparently there is a tournament being held at the next event, and Tawny and I have formally been invited to attend due to our battle skills being recognized. Laban then leaves, but not before what seems like a threat if we don't end up participating. But before I can head over to their fancy hotel, Lida starts questioning my fashion sense. What do you mean? I look fab
fabulous.
Trying to avoid playing dress up, I ran away to Wild Zone 16, where a random shiny phalanx spawned. I was ecstatic. You're telling me I can get my own shiny Megazord? And not only that, while continuing my quest to complete the Pokedex and 100% all the Wild Zones, I managed to get myself an Alpha Scolipede. Two of my new favorite Megas had officially joined the team. But my luck ended there, and Leader and Naveen finally catch me, forcing me to dress up for the occasion so I can smooch up to the big shots at the event to get more people to visit Hotel Z. Yet, Tawny is allowed to wear her same outfit? This isn't fair. Why are the rules different for her? The jacket belongs to her deceased mother. Well, now I feel like a twat. We arrive at the venue, a rival hotel, which is pretty mid since they don't have a 3,000-year-old receptionist. And as we make our way up to the top, we find a lot of familiar faces, being all the strong trainers we've had to face so far. But then, the head of the SBC arrives fashionably late as expected. This is Josephine. Yes, I know I say her name wrong. And she is mentally unstable. Apparently even Leon, the former champion of Gala, attended these gatherings from time to time. She announces that we will all be participating in Le Super Tournée de Josephine. Finally, a tournament arc in Pokemon against the strongest trainers in Lumiose. I can't wait to get started. Well, that was the plan, but Vinny calls to let us know that more rogue megas were on the loose, and so Tawny and I had to withdraw from the tournament. LeBron chases us down, letting us know we would be making a terrible mistake, and at this moment, I wish I listened to her words back then. As when Team MZ began strategizing on how to deal with new rogue megas, none of us even detected that Josephine had infiltrated our meeting room. Everyone was completely oblivious to her presence for unknown reasons, and just kept responding to her as if nothing was wrong. She's still trying to get us to compete in a tournament and doesn't take kindly to those who disrespect them. Red flag alert, red flag alert. Nevertheless, this time around, we're up against Venusaur, Altaria, and a new Mega, Frostlass, who really dives deep into the Yukiona theme, and it's definitely a top Mega design. The fight themselves weren't much of an issue, but Mega Frostlass's fight was a great spectacle, with me ultimately using my Fire Spin strategy to melt her HP away. But after each fight, Josephine appears in hollow form to terrorize us yet again. I'm starting to understand why Laban kept warning us about this person. She even threatens to buy out our hotel if we don't participate. The gang then decided we should probably head back to the SBC event before Josephine does something crazy. But as we said this, we hear a strange noise outside, and the hotel suddenly gets surrounded by what we are told is the Josephine zone, a zone where you cannot escape unless Josephine or Laban disables it. We have just literally been trapped by a crazy rich stalker. Why did we not listen to Laban back then? In order to get out, we now need to defeat Laban. We do get out, and her dragons are no match for my Mega Meganium until she sends out her Dragoldi, who Mega evolves into this insane monster who uses a quad effective sludge bomb to dissolve my Mega Meganium. If it wasn't for the fact that it de-Mega evolved, I genuinely think I would have lost this fight. Laban then tells us to watch out for Josephine, as she used to be a fighter herself, but now wants to dress up as a maid and talk with proper etiquette when she lost to her. And if we're not careful, we could be next. And fate once again strikes at the perfect time, as our next promotion match happens to be against Josephine herself. Not gonna lie, she probably fixed this match with her connections. Well, guess you better turn off the Josephine zone now. Josephine zone! Oh! Okay, we can definitely not afford to lose this match. I will not be caught dead doing that. I decide to switch back to my fabulous attire and get my game face on to win this tournament. And it turns out everyone else was just trapped in the venue all this time, being held captive, waiting for us to return. And what a surprise, the bracket is revealed and she already has a bye into the finals. Either way, this tournament was a blast, allowing us to face off against some of our strongest rivals again, and even allowing me to try out my new Mega Shiny Phalanx, Alpha Scolipede, and my newly evolved Shiny Dragonite. But now it was time to take on Josephine for the final of the tournament and our promotion match. Well, that was the plan, but the tournament is gatecrashed by Zygarde and Lysander. Everyone is astonished to see that he's still alive. And not only that, apparently Zygarde has decided he wants to face me in battle to determine my worthiness. I thought Josephine was about to have another meltdown, but surprisingly, she sympathizes with Zygarde and even adds him to the tournament bracket. But it doesn't end there, because a swarm of Zygarde cells suddenly appears, and after absorbing them all, Zygarde transforms into his 50% form. But I wasn't about to let him stop my path to becoming, and he beat me, earning my first actual loss of the game. I didn't expect them to keep targeting me and not my Pokemon, but I wasn't gonna make the same mistake twice. Mega Meganium was more than enough to deal with Zygarde's attacks, resisting and being immune to its typings respectively. Zygarde then reverts back to its 10% form and dashes away, with Lysander informing us that we still haven't seen Zygarde at its full potential and leaves us to continue his quest to gather all of the other Zygarde cells. Now we can finally focus on the main event, the final of Le Super Tourney de Josephine. Josephine might be a crazy stalker, but her battle theme is 100% the best in the game. However, it was finally time for us to get some revenge from the torture she had put us through. My Pokemon were on their A game, and we were always in a comfortable position when facing off her Fairy and Rock types, since a lot of our Pokemon have an advantage against their secondary types. Even when she decided to Mega Evolve her Clefable, who by the way, looks like a giant sippy cup. Yes, you heard me, Wilson. I am a Pippinator, was no match for the onslaught my Mega Alpha Scolipede unleashed on her, granting us the win and promoting us to Rank Believe. Believe, everyone! Believe in the fact we will make it to Rank A! After giving her some respect for her amazing theme, we finally make our way back to the hotel to celebrate my win with some more croissant curry, but this time, Floette was absent. This is because AZ and Floette were staring into the distance, gazing upon Lumio's tower and reminiscing.
Ange, you were meant to be the guardian of the city, towering over her and always watching. Our 3,000-year-old desire, once foolishly held. A 3,000-year-old mistake, once foolishly made.
AZ already had a mysterious past, but it seems there's more to his story than we've been told. The next day, AZ tells us that the unease spilling from the tower is spreading further into the city, and the only one that can actually put a stop to this is none other than Mega Floette? That Floette gets a Mega Evolution? That's insane! Although, only the strongest Mega Evolution user can actually handle the power of Mega Floette. So it's our job to reach rank A in the ZA Royale to prove we are the best of the best. Tawny makes her own declaration to reach the top as well, but then we are suddenly messaged from Vinny asking us to meet him at Quasartico Incorporated. But as we arrive, it's actually Jet who wanted to speak with us, as she hits us with some lore on the past 5 years. Apparently, after the events of X and Y, Lumiose was in a disastrous state, with everything falling apart. This is why Quasartico initiated the urban redevelopment plan, wanting to make Lumiose a place where people and Pokemon could live in harmony. However, when they started to begin some repairs on Prism Tower, they discovered the tower itself was emitting mega power, which was causing random wild Pokemon to flock to the city and causing rogue Pokemon evolution to occur. Before we leave, Jet asked Tawny where she got her jacket from, to which she explains it was from her deceased mother, and this seems to have triggered something within Jet. She doesn't pry any further. Wow, that was a massive lore dump, and yet we still have so many questions left unanswered. Who is Ange? Why is the tower emitting mega power? And why wasn't Typhlosion chosen to have a mega? Regardless, after grouping up with the team again, we get told about more rogue mega evolutions occurring around the city. This time we have Tyranitar, but also Starmie, whose mega we haven't seen yet, and Dragonite! So of course I headed to Dragonite's first, as I have to get its Mega Stone so we can see shiny Mega Dragonite. And just when I had thought I had gotten the rogue Mega fight down, Dragonite decides to Hyper Beam the whole arena, leaving me on 1 HP, and then proceeds to land on my broken body, causing me to have my second knockout of the entire game. Thankfully, managed to play my best Pokemon of my life the second time around, and finally got myself a Dragonite. Now, I was excited to see what Mega Starmie had in store for us, and hello, is this Mega Starmie?
No, this is Patrick.
Game Freak really went ahead and made Patrick Star the Mega Evolution. You know what, Starmie fans, you guys should be happy. At least your Pokemon didn't end up like this. Nevertheless, we cleared out the remaining rogue Megas with ease, and we were able to watch our beautiful Mega Shiny Dragonite in action as well. Look at how amazing she is. With all of that out of the way, the story finally goes into overdrive. Our final promotion match is decided, and it's against someone called Grisham, who seems to be standing in a very familiar place. With his identity being a secret though, we have no way of figuring out where to find this guy. So who better to ask about cracking someone down than the #1 detective in town, Emma. Apparently, just knowing about this person could put us in danger, but I need to reach rank A and prove I am the strongest trainer. And after beating Emma in a battle with her friend Mega Malamar, we learned that this person might be linked with Team Flare. Yes, the same Team Flare that caused disaster 5 years ago. I thought that background looked familiar. Emma's old mentor Xerosic had told her that they tried to make sure Team Flare's legacy prevailed, and Emma was one of the ways they tried to do this. She wasn't the only one. Apparently, Grisham was also a part of this new wave of Team Flare, and Emma suggests we go ask Mabel to get more information. Mabel was of course a scientist back in her Team Flare days, and she lets us know that Grisham was a strong trainer coming up the ranks, and we were able to track him down thanks to her advice. Grisham was actually someone we've already seen before. He is actually the owner of that cafe we frequently visited with Team MZ, and also the head of Team Flare Nouveau. And the reveals don't stop there, as we are asked to meet these two at an old rundown cafe. If you've played X and Y before, you might recognize this place. This is what's left of Lysander Cafe, and after waiting like a good little boy and defeating Grizel and her fabulous Mega Pyro, we dive deep into the ruins of Lysander Labs to uncover the truth about AZ, Team Flare, and what the hell is happening in Lumiose. Now, there is a lot of plot I'm about to go through. I'm just going to do my best to summarize everything the best I can. It all started 3,000 years ago, where there was a great war taking place, where many people and Pokemon fought in and lost their lives, one of which being AZ's own Floette. Unable to deal with the pain and suffering of losing his beloved Floette, AZ created a device, a machine so powerful that was able to grant life, bringing Floette back. However, AZ's rage had not subsided, and he couldn't forgive the world that had hurt what he cherished the most. He converted the revival machine into the ultimate weapon and put an end to the conflict taking place during the war by becoming destruction himself. However, Floette had known about the fact that her life was only given to her by stealing so many other Pokemon's lives, and thus abandoned AZ, leaving him heartbroken and to wander the world alone for 3,000 years. However, 1,000 years ago, AZ was asked to create yet another device, a way to protect Kalos from further danger. This is what Ange is. He decided to make one that would share the eternal life given to Floette instead. Skip forward to 5 years ago, Lysander discovered both the ultimate weapon and Ange, but without Floette being present, he decided to use the ultimate weapon instead. Lysander wanted to rid the world of all of its filth, but was stopped during the events of X and Y, and so he decided to destroy the Team Flare base and the ultimate weapon in the process. Lysander has now since lost a lot of his memory from that time, recalls being saved by Zygarde during the explosion, so now he has devoted himself to Zygarde and its will to protect Kalos. Fast forward to today, because of the weapon being fired, this seemed to have caused Ange to start leaking Mega Power all over Lumiose. Without Mega Floette to regulate the energy, these things can quickly spiral out of control. All three of AZ, Lysander, and Grisham know that in order to put a stop to all of this pain, they need to be the strongest Mega Evolution user and also use the power of Mega Floette. Whilst all of their goals are aligned, each has their own reason of doing so. AZ wants to atone for his sins, hasn't got him in him anymore to be a Pokemon trainer with his aging 3,000-year-old body. Lysander wants Zygarde's will to be accomplished and make sure Lumiose is safe no matter how it gets done. Whereas Grisham also wants to save Lumiose and has good intentions, but he wants to be the one to restore the reputation of Team Flare in the process, which has been tarnished for so many years, and asks us to give him Mega Floette instead. However, Team MZ weren't going to back down without a fight. AZ's will lives within us, and we need to be the ones to set things straight. When we battle, we are battling for AZ to finally release him from the shackles of his sins. We finally get our Challengers ticket, and Grisham and I approach each other with so much more on the line than the title of Rank A. It was time to finally decide who is the strongest Mega Evolution user and the one to save the city from this looming threat. Grisham's team is actually quite diverse, with him leading off with Goro? Is that the same Pancham who stole my bag? Because I led with Greninja, I had to immediately switch into Meganium, who was able to hit a quad effect of Dazzling Gleam just before Pangora's Protect took place, and eventually finishing off with a Bulldoze. Grisham then brings in his Pyro next, so I immediately switched back and Mega Evolved Greninja to annihilate it with a Water Shuriken, but not before taking massive damage. He then sends in his Tyranitar, and we trade a Water Shuriken and Stone Edge, leaving us both barely on any life, but Tyranitar was able to launch Earthquake before I could attack, resulting in our defeat. Phalanx was able to jump in to finish off his Tyranitar quickly, but then he sends in his friend Malamar. Just before his Slice Shot lands though, I'm able to switch in Meganium, and we just start blasting each other with moves one after another, with Meganium managing to come out on top thanks to the HP we kept getting back from Giga Drain. But his victory was short-lived, as Grisham then sends in his Salamence, who decapitated my Meganium with Aerial Ace. Salamence then launches a deadly Draco Meteor, but we managed to get out of the way in time, and I decided to boost my stats with no retreat, causing me to have to stay in with Phalanx. But Salamence again was able to strike Aerial Ace just before the boost took effect, and even though we dealt a massive massive amount of damage, Phalanx couldn't stop the inevitable defeat. And even after that, his Salamat still wasn't finished, striking first yet again as I sent in Scolipede, causing massive damage before I finally finished him off. Even though I was in a 3 versus 1 at this point, we were not in the clear yet as Grisham Mega evolved his Charizard into Mega Charizard X. Luckily, I was able to use X as a first, which caused Charizard to protect, allowing me to actually get super effective damage with Earthquake before getting taken down. Chandelure then came in, and there was only one thing I could rely on to bring me victory. With Fire Spin by my side, I kept Charizard in the spinning flames as they overpowered its own flames, bringing its dragon to the floor and confirming our win against Grisham. It was an insane fight, with my Meganium and his Salamence pulling out all the stops for each of our team. But now, we had finally reached the highest rank in ZA Royale. Hey! Grisham then proceeds to tell us to take care of Prism Tower and the city in his stead and offers his assistance should we ever need it. I am now the strongest Mega Evolution user in Lumiose, or so I thought, but Tawny then makes a shocking revelation that she also managed to reach rank A. This means we now have 2 trainers who are considered to be the strongest Mega Evolution user. Try not to think about it too much. We enjoyed our celebrations to getting to rank A and finally went to get some well-deserved rest. Or at least that was the plan. But then a massive explosion goes off, sending shockwaves throughout Lumiose and waking everyone up. We all rush to the roof, only to see that the tower is now radiating with a large amount of mega power. It won't be long now till Ange begins to go rogue, causing another explosion of mega power to spread across the entire city. So it's up to us, Team MZ and Floette, to finish what we set out to do, which is to save Lumiose City. As once Floette Mega evolves, we can control the tower's power by allowing it to take the form of Ange Floette. Unfortunately though, AZ's old body has caught up with him. He won't be able to join us at the tower, so he'll be staying behind. Lena then makes a great suggestion for him to cook up a feast for when this is all over. And I can't wait to see what you make with 3,000 years of experience, AZ. Just before we head off though, we catch a glimpse of the Zygarde cell jumping into my satchel without being noticed. And as we make it to the base of the tower, Vinny confirms the tower is emitting more mega power by the minute. And if we don't act fast, the city will be filled with rogue mega Pokemon. But the real question is, who would be the one to mega evolve Floette? And so now we're having a battle against Tawny to finally decide who the strongest Mega Evolution user is. Although, is now really the right time to be having a Pokemon battle, considering the lives of Lumiose are at stake here and the tower can explode at any minute? Regardless, we are thrown right into the fight to compete for the top spot against Tawny. We're able to dispose of Tawny's Meowstic quickly despite the screens being set up with Greninja, and Scolipede has no trouble demolishing her Manectric with an Earthquake and Mega Horn. I then brought in my Mega Alpha Scrafty, who with a gangster swagger annihilates her Avalugg with Dynamic Punch and Crunch. Goodra was up next, and because I already used my Mega with Scrafty, I couldn't gain the Fairy typing to help Meganium in this fight, causing it to fall to Goodra's Blizzard and Draco Meteors. But after avoiding another Draco Meteor with Dragonite, we were able to launch an Ice Beam and then dash in quickly with extreme speed to send her dragon to the grave. Only her starters remained, and my stand Alpha Scrafty was too much for her Feraligatr to handle. Surely I can't bottle a 5v1 fight, right? Apparently, Emboar had other ideas. After Mega Evolving and setting up a Bulk Up, increasing its attack and defense, it took down my Scrafty with Flare Blitz. My Dragonite then got deleted by a Stone Edge, and like a scene from an anime, used Flare Blitz to dash past my Hurricane and finish off my Dragonite. Scolipede didn't even get a chance to move before being burned to cinders. Not to mention, it also had Thunder Punch for my Greninja, but thankfully, we do survive and can take down Emboar with a Water Shuriken. But wow, we generally almost bottled what should have been the easiest fight of my life. With that out of the way, I had proven I was indeed the strongest trainer in Lumiose and was ready to take Floette and save the day. Until Tawny suddenly says she's going to be the one to go up the tower with Floette and save everyone, saying I should stay down here in case things go south and Zygarde needs help. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? we might as well not just battle at all. I don't even get a say in this. Everyone seems to be on the side with Tawny. But then AZ suddenly calls and apologizes for not being able to be here in person, saying the life of 3,000 years is asking a lot for his human body. He tells us to keep safeguarding the people and Pokemon of Lumiose. Don't worry, AZ, we've got your back, and I can't wait to have whatever you got cooking when we return. Now it's time for the endgame. Floette prepares her Mega Stone, and Tawny then uses her bracelet, causing Floette to Mega Evolve, and she is beautiful. Floette then grabs Tawny's hand as they ascend their way to the top of the tower and reach the control panel. Tawny places her hand on the panel, and Floette begins absorbing all the Mega Power from the tower, finally saving the city. Or so we thought. But a massive blast of Mega Energy suddenly erupts from the tower with Tawny still inside. And Floette had awoken, taking on this plant-like structure, almost as if the tower was alive after joining with Floette. Maybe it was a good thing that I wasn't the one to go up there. Leader, Naveen and I were wondering what the next course of action should be until we receive a call from Tawny, letting us know she's fine thanks to Mega Floette. But she was unable to stop the tower from using Mega Floette's power and moves. However, Tawny then discovers Zygarde is actually waiting for us on the rooftop in Magenta Plaza. It's clear to me now that I have to link up with Zygarde to save Lumiose. But due to the Mega Power Blast earlier, random Pokemon have already begun Mega Evolving throughout the city. Team MZ does step up together and we get a cool battle of our Mega Evolutions teaming up against these rogues. After getting rid of these threats, we decide to have a strategy meeting to figure out how to get to Zygarde since the streets are completely covered in vines and wreckage. But then Canary, Bossman Corbeau, and Ivor show up in holo form to help us figure out a plan, and Canary is actually the only one with common sense to get Zygarde to come here. But Zygarde seems to want to test us one last time. We set a plan in motion to get to him safely. We start making our way through the back streets and roofs of Lumiose, getting some help along the way from our ZA Royale competitors, and even joining them in some Team Mega Evo fights, which was so cool to see everyone get their chance to shine. Like Gwyn leading a horde of Mega Pokemon away from us, Ivor's and Mega Farthings's Justice Punch making us a bridge, Paragon made a flipping parkour course instead of a simple bridge, and once again Canary, with the only common sense out of everyone, calling him out for his stupidity. Even Josephine and LeBron were using the Josephine zone to keep a bunch of rogue Megas from catching up to us. I think my favorite interaction was definitely the Rust Syndicate when he made a human ladder for us to actually get to the rooftops, with Corbeau dramatically falling down. I might have accidentally fallen down just to try and see if he was safe, and safe to say, he was not happy about that at all. Grisham and Grizel also assisted in helping taking down some rogue Megas along the way. With that out of the way, we had finally reached Zygarde. He and I raced to the top of the building until we were finally face to face with Ange. Lysander then appears and says he has collected 99 Zygarde cells with him, and with the one cell we had in our satchel, Zygarde had finally gotten all 100 and transformed into his 100% form, complete Zygarde. Zygarde begins attacking the tower, but Ange Floette was not going down without a fight. We had to deal with these flowers at the base of the tower, and these flowers pack a massive punch. I realized early on that I was going to need Fire Spin in this fight, since the flowers don't move from their spot and we can get some chip damage over time. It was getting difficult to keep my Pokemon alive. After successfully beating both of the flowers, we provided Zygarde with an opening he needed to unleash 1,000 waves to deal massive damage. Ange Floette then charges up a Light of Ruin, but Zygarde, like the anime protagonist he is, lies down to provide us with a shield to block the damage. This truly was the hero the Kalos region needed. We then had to deal with the flowers again to give Zygarde another chance to attack, allowing him to strike again with Land's Wrath. And after defeating the flowers rampage for a third time, Zygarde and I understood what needs to be done. Zygarde stares Ange Floette down and charges up his signature move, Core Enforcer, to finally defeat Ange Floette, saving the city. All of the trainers arrive in holo form to congratulate each other on protecting our city, and Tawny lets us know that Floette just needs to take control of the tower now and we can finally be past this madness and go home to AZ's cooking. But just when we thought everything was fine, Ange decided to pull off one last desperate attempt and began charging up a full power Light of Ruin, which would annihilate all of Lumiose in one go. Is that it? Is Lumiose destined to be destroyed? Just as all hope was lost, something inside my bag began shaking. The pebble that Zygarde had entrusted to me long ago turned out to actually be a Zygardeite. With this new glimmer of hope, I Mega Evolved Zygarde, and it looks absolutely mental and fires its light of ruin, with it making a sharp U-turn as it begins to descend onto the city. Zygarde prepares his Mega Bazooka and his core enforcer begins to change, evolving into the new move Nihil Light. Zygarde fires his Nihil Light straight into the light of ruin, causing the two moves to collide. What proceeds next is the night sky becoming a beautiful fireworks show all over Lumiose. Tawny and Floette then descend from the tower, and Floette, who appears to be hurt, is still healthy and full of life. AZ watches on from the Hotel Z and exclaims he will forever be grateful to all of us in Team MZ, his dear friends. Oh, AZ, you're gonna break my heart. The credits then showcase a montage of everyone in Lumiose helping rebuild the city after all the damage that's occurred. And it's nice to see everyone in Lumiose is all fine and working together in harmony. All that was left was to enjoy AZ's homemade fruit. AZ! We're back! AZ? Where are you? AZ? AZ! We are then shown a scene where Team MZ are standing before a large grave. This grave, unfortunately, belongs to AZ, whose 3,000-year-old body had finally caught up to him. Everyone in Team Z says their goodbyes, wishing him everlasting peace before returning to the hotel one last time. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I did tear up in this scene. AZ's passing really tugged at my heartstrings. But this brings an end to Pokemon Legends ZA. Let me know which part of the game has been your favorite thing down in the comments down below. I want to talk to you guys about your experiences as well. What was your favorite part? What was your favorite Mega Evolution? And why is it that Typhlosion didn't get a Mega? But with that, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Most likely Shadow related. Bye!